In this video, we'll pick up the Chapter 2 review homework sheet. So for the first 5 questions, they're actually just multiple choice questions. Question 1, they're asking us to find the midpoint given the endpoints, so just use the midpoint formula, and you'll see that the correct answer is choice C. For question 2, they gave us the endpoints and asked us to find the length of the line segment. No problem. Use the length of the line segment formula, and you'll see that the answer is choice D. For question 3, they told us that it's a circle centered at the origin with a radius of 8. So if x squared plus y squared equals r squared, then the equation of this circle is x squared plus y squared equals 64. For question 4, they gave us the endpoints and asked us to find the coordinates of the center. Now it's the endpoints of the diameter, so just find the midpoint, and you can tell yourself where the center of the circle is. Question 5, they give us a point on the circle and ask us to find the equation of the circle. So just sub it into the equation formula and solve for r squared. Once you have r squared, you can write the equation. Question 6, find the midpoint and the length. So really, as long as you know the midpoint formula and the length formula, then you can answer those questions. I would really recommend you to just understand where the formulas came from. Don't just try to memorize them. It just really helps when you know where the formula comes from. Question 7. So we have there's a library halfway between Brandon and Vaughn's house. The intervals on the grid represent 1 kilometer. Okay, perfect. So how far apart is Brandon and Vaughn's house? Just punch it into the distance formula. I can say you can round it to the nearest tenth, which is 7.2 kilometers. And then, to find the midpoint, then you can locate where the library is. For question 8, basically it's just using the length formula 2 times, because you're asking how far is what's the distance between Brenda and Dylan, and what's the distance between Kelly and Dylan. So just solve for the 2 distances. Okay, question 9. You have the 2 endpoints. Well, you're basically solving for the x coordinate of the first endpoint, but you know the length of the line segment, so just sub it into the formula and then just follow your algebra and solve for x. So square both sides, subtract both sides by 36, square root both sides. So be careful, x is not 8, x is equal to plus or minus 8. Okay, and if you have a hard time understanding why it could be 8 or negative 8, I highly recommend you to draw a picture here. This would be really helpful. So plot point B, and then plot 8, 0 and negative 8, 0 to show that you can get, there are 2 ways to get a line segment of distance 10 units. Lastly, they want me to show that a point is 1/3 of the way from A to B. So I actually found 1/3 of the rise and 1/3 of the run and tacked it on to point A, because I'm going from A to B. And that's the solutions for Chapter 2 review.